August 6, 1928 in Pittsburgh, American artist Andy Warhol was one of the leading exponents of the pop art movement of the 1960s. His art apotheosized the supposed banality of the commercial culture of the United States. An adroit self-publicist, he projected a concept of the artist as an impersonal, even vacacious, figure who was nevertheless a successful celebrity, businessman, and social climber. Andy Warhol had a huge impact on the growth of pop art during the time when consumer culture impacted Americans due to the enormous growth of the economy after World War II. Pop art had found its way into the mainstream culture with the use of just everyday objects and people of great fame. Warhol would find his way into this with the adoption of the silkscreen process. This was a stenciling technique for surface printing. He would cut out designs in the paper so he could then print multiple times by rubbing, roiling, and spraying paint or ink through the cut-out areas. He would implement fine art to the consumer product and bring forth works of art with equality which all Americans could relate to. Often, Warhol would get inspiration from the things he loved, such as Hollywood, and in 1953, he would take advantage of the Hollywood star by reconciling the suicide of Marilyn Monroe with her portrait from the film Niagara. The portrait was enhanced with unmodulated colors and closely resembled film strips placed side by side. Warhol's artistic style was more of the detached side, rather than more of the soulful, emotional encounters with artists of the past, and his cultural prowess and up-to-date antics would help him easily gain large audiences. While most of Andy Warhol's pieces did portray famous individuals or everyday objects, he wasn't a stranger to the more emotional sides that art could showcase. Warhol produced a series known as Death and Disaster, which comprised of car crashes with the most numerous and diverse set of images. Presented in a serialized repeated format, the gruesome paintings both shocked and divided critics. People viewed his work as a form of critique, drawing on thematic issues such as the spectacle of violence. Others saw Warhol's images as a simulacrum, all served with no meaning. In the contrast to the majority of his disaster series, Five Deaths is composed of a single, rather than being repeated across the canvas. It is created using his aforementioned silkscreen process, allowing the image to be ending up a bit more blurry and adding a sense of deterioration to it, making the already gruesome image even more eerier. Warhol's mastery of his work showcases a unique way of capturing a message he wishes to present to the audience, as well as the way he wishes to display it. However, one of his most compelling messages would have to be his 1964 piece, Race Riots. The riots of Birmingham, Alabama in the spring of 1963 was one of the climaxes of the civil rights movement. Supporters of Martin Luther King protesting against segregation at lunch counters were attacked. The perpetrators of the act were the local police force, which assaulted the protesters with dogs and water hoses. Photographers and broadcasters arrived to report on the ongoing acts. Life magazine would then publish an article displaying the act, where Warhol would find inspiration. He would take the photo from the magazine, cropping it, and highlighting the brutality of the scene. Police officers glaring at the circle of witnesses to the crime being commenced. The officers in the midst of approaching them, while the crowd steps back, fearing what may become of their fate. The same scene is then shown to the audience in a vibrant blue and red. The original photo is akin to what would be shown in a standard newspaper at the time, just a normal black and white photo. The color is then shifted to a blue, now displaying a sign of sadness. That within our community, change must not occur. That one must succumb to the role they're born with. But lying underneath those two portraits is the true horror of the piece, the red. Here is displayed the true act of violence, all the emotions of anger, rage, bitterness, captured in the highlight of red. The same red is repeated to us, showcasing the true message of the scene. the very colors that make 1960s America.